Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Carlo Chincarini. He is a business and performance coach, and we'll be talking about how one can create the king version of yourself and how to make more money. Welcome to the show, Carlo.
Thank you, AJ. Great to be here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome to the show, Carlo. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure
Yeah.
not just in India, but a lot of people across the world will benefit from what we are going to discuss about. As I said, we'll talk about how you can help people make more money and help them create the king version of yourself, so of themselves. So my first question is what about the king itself? Carlo, where does the kingmaker come in this? How did the king thing happen? Help us understand, and how do you help others to become king version of themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's dive into all of it. So the idea behind a kingmaker really came when I was actually trying to find a name for what I did, a label of sort, but almost this identity of what I felt like I was and I am for the people that I work with. And in my work with elite business people, business owners all over the world, and elite level athletes, I very much feel that what I do is to create kings and queens. Okay, we work with both men and women, and really the when we talk about the king or the queen, what we're really referring to is very much the version of you that is the highest quality version of you, the winner, the most successful version of you. And ultimately the highest version of you is what we call the king, right? And within people there are multiple versions of us. There is the king, but also there is what we call facetiously the weaker version of us, or what we call the little bitch self, right? And it's a facetious term because it explains very well the difference between the two. There is the king version of you, who is the most confident, who is the most certain, who knows that he or she is going to find that the solution to the problem, is going to find a way. And then there is also the weaker version of us that maybe is lazy, it's lacking confidence, it dives into more of that doubt and insecurity around, am I good enough, do I know enough, am I going to be able to make it? And there's all that insecurity because, see, AJ, what I found is that especially for business people and high performance and elite level athletes, often it's less an issue of knowledge. I don't know enough. I lack a strategy. And it's actually more about an insecurity, an internal uh, lack of confidence that actually stops those people from achieving their best results. And so by developing the king and queen version of each individual that we work with, we're actually helping them to succeed at a higher level, if that makes sense.
Yes, indeed, Carlo. I want to understand, Carlo, how has been when you branded yourself the kingmaker. Uh, how was the people's reaction? Why I ask is there are so many coaches, consultants across the world, and they want to present their best services, best versions for the
Yes.
potential clients, and they are not
Yes.
able to do it. So I want to understand, that's why, how should they do it? Sometimes people will think, okay, am I talking too big about myself?
Mm.
Is it about that? So I want to understand the perception it created for your
Yep.
potential clients, so that people can understand. Secondly,
Yeah.
what are the questions people ask you when they ask you what sort of a kingmaker
Yes.
you are? It will
And
answer both sides of the
yes,
story.
it's a great question. It's a great question, AJ, and I actually really appreciate it because a lot of the time that people hear that name, they make the connection. Oh, you must only work with men. You must only be a men's coach, which is really interesting because 75 to 80% of our client base is actually women. So What the one way that I'm going to answer it is that it's less about the label, and obviously the name and the brand is very important. But what's even more important is your energy, and it's actually who you are as a person, because that is going to be the biggest branding exercise that you can do. It's all about energy. The people that work with you, especially for coaches, especially for personal brands, people that will work with you for you. Doesn't matter what you do, right? They will work. If I change my name today, my business name, people will still work with me, not because of my name, but because of actually the energy with which I show up. Now, some of the things that have come up is that I actually have lost clients because of the name, and they saw it and like, nah, you're not for me. Now, to that, I say that I'm okay with it. And I'm okay with it because ultimately I believe that if someone is going to work with me, they're going to work with me because of the branding that I use or not. Because they actually see that there is this alignment and connection that, hey, you're the kind of person that I want in my corner, because what actually you're about, I'm about, and we're about winning and we're about getting results and succeeding. Whether you wear a white hat, whether you wear a pink hat, if I feel that that's the real connection, that's what it's all about, I will work with you. So there, and in regards to your question, which I particularly like, AJ, is around the things that people say, and uh the perception, or you asked before, when people ask what you do, what is it, right? The What I will say to that is this: actually, I'm going to come back to that, because you also said, a lot of time people struggle to talk up about themselves. Okay,
Right.
so you asked lots of great questions. I'm going to cover them all. See, what I say to that is, I truly believe that when you are in your king or queen self, when you actually decide to step into and go about what you're called to do, what you're passionate about doing, whether it's coaching, whether it's accounting, law, whatever it might be, play to your strengths. Play, actually, instead of worrying about what people might think, actually step into through the art of certainty, and actually completely double down on the things that you believe in. Double down on being certain and say, hey, I view the world in this way. This is who I say I am. This is what I believe about myself. I'm going to go all in, because then the lack and the scarcity program that comes up saying, oh, if I brand myself this way, I'm going to lose people, that only starts to take life when you allow it. And when you allow yourself to get out of the confidence and out of that real king and queen energy. Because if you are in that king and queen energy, all of a sudden you start to become magnetic, and you start to actually play at a completely different field, where people look at you and they go, that's my person. Yes, I see that what you call yourself is actually the thing. So I'm a massive believer in saying to people, hey, play to your strengths. Do you believe in this? Is this you? Does it feel so deep inside of you that it feels so right? Yes, then go for it, because the right people will find you. And we're going to stop doing business to please everyone else out there, and be reactive to the marketplace, and then being second and being left out. And instead, you're going to be a creator, and now you're going to stand out. Now all of a sudden your audience grows. Now people actually want to work with you. Why? Because you are leading yourself first, and in return you lead your people, whether it's clients, customers, whatever it might be, of any kind. um and finally, the final answer to your great question, what do people say? People assume that I only work with men simply because of the name, and that's fine, because the way that we are is very strong, is very direct, it's very I want to say that it's we don't take people's victim mindset. But what I mean by that is that we really care about people, and we care to people at a higher level that they're not used to. And what that looks like is that we are one of our values is that we are willing to get fired for all of our clients. Okay. We're willing to get fired every single day for doing the right thing for people, for saying what they need to hear. And obviously, we deliver it in a good way, but we're not afraid to say what could potentially get us fired. Because initially, in the moment, when you hear the truth, you're like, who is this guy to tell me that? But when you understand our intention, you understand that, hey, we're actually here to help you win. And so we have that energy, we have that brand. But people, it's like a book, right? You know, the famous saying, don't judge a book by its cover. A lot of people will do that, and that's okay. And if you're willing to judge us for the cover and you think that we're not for you, that's totally okay. Because we know that there's also going to be people that are going to listen to what we say and they're going to go, actually, what you're saying is actually true. It's accurate. I need someone that is going to have my back. I need someone that is going to keep me accountable. I need someone to call out those things that are not true. And actually, I've been seeing it everywhere online, but no one has called it out. And I actually agree with that. And I find that this, AJ, is something that so many business owners get caught up in. They get caught up in just seeing everyone else's opinion out there, but never actually having a voice to actually share their belief. Now, someone shares my belief, great. If someone doesn't share my belief, great. I wanna genuinely empower people to have their own voice and to find the people that align with them. If that answers your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get a bit deeper into this. You talk about, taking back your throne, a
Yeah.
kingmaker's secret to power.
Yes.
Being a, I will want to understand the secret, but before that, I want to understand why should one want to become a king or queen?
Mm,
Let me ask you this: what is this king and queen about?
mm,
Is it about taking from someone else because taking
mm,
something for building yourself? Or is it about giving? A real king and queen
mm,
always gives to the people,
mm.
cares for the people, do for the people. What
Yes.
version do you want these people who understand about kings and queens
Mm.
them to be?
That's great.
Whether they are coach, consultants, or individuals, whoever want to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Yes. Great questions. You've got a lot of really good questions. I appreciate you being so prepared. Okay. So the idea behind and why I'll answer this first question. Why should someone want to be in the king and the queen? Ultimately, AJ, it comes down to this. It comes down to not settling for anything but your greatest potential. To actually become everything that you can be, to achieve. See, I work with people that are passionate about what they do. And people that are passionate about what they do are a different breed because they feel like they've got this calling to actually, hey, I'm here doing what I feel called to do. I don't care what religion you believe in. If you are passionate about something, you feel like I'm called to do this, then what happens by default after that is this, that you know that you need to win. You know that you need to make it happen. You know that you need to live your life to become everything that you can be so that you can do whatever this calling is. You need to do it justice because you know that if you're passionate about something, there's something calling you to do what you're doing, right? And if someone is calling you to do it, then you're just a vessel and your job is to make the most of yourself so that you can do the most of what you've been given. Here's where the king and the queen comes in, because I have not found a single other way in all of my research and all of my studies that is going to help the individual that is called to do something to do it to the best of their ability, financially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, than for them to step into the greatest version of themselves. That's what the king version is. The queen version, it is the highest quality version you. I'm not saying, hey, you need to become someone else. You need to become a celebrity. You're not enough, so you need to become something else. No. What I'm saying is that you are enough. What I'm saying is that you have everything that you need to succeed within you. The question is, what do we need to do to bring that out every single day of your life, 365 days, and not fall into your insecure little bit self that chooses comfort over purpose, right? So the idea behind the king and the queen is that fulfillment of whatever your purpose is, whatever you choose it to be, right? Why should someone do that? It's pretty self-explanatory. Because if you care about what you want to do and you have to do it at the best of your ability on a consistent basis. That is how we're going to achieve it. So how we do that is every single day we build this identity, we build this version of you that is strong, that is confident, that is certain, with all the characteristics of that person. Is this making sense?
Yes, indeed, Carlo.
Yeah.
And so let's understand, the kingmaker's secret to power. So how can people, get started to being the king and queen? Before that, I want to understand is, that uh, how do you evaluate that these people are king material or queen material? Do they have to have the qualities of a prince and princess so that they
Mm,
can get to the throne, or is
mm.
it any commoner can get into that position? How do you
Great
evaluate?
question.
Because there
Great
has to
question.
be that difference between people who don't want to be king, they just
Yeah.
want to be a normal person without being the best version of themselves.
100%. I think the first thing that I always look for when I work with people is, look, I know that I can't help anyone that doesn't want help. You will know this. You know that in order for someone to help, something to work, you need to want it. Now, great question, that point that you made is, do they need to have something special about themselves, or can any commoner do this? Now, the term commoner is also interesting, right? Because remember that this king and queen, we're not doing it to be over everyone else. We're not
Right.
doing it to have power over someone else. No, 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 no. We need to have power over ourselves. So when we reclaim the throne, we don't reclaim the throne in the Prime Minister of India's office or the president. That's not what we're doing. No, we're doing it to the kingdom of ourselves. We need to master ourselves first. So we're not doing it over anyone else. We're just doing it as reclaim the power over ourselves, because that's all that counts. Once you do that, game, set, and match, we win. So the term commoner would mean that someone is better than you and you lack something and you don't have something of inheritance, or that you can only be royalty if you come down from a bloodline. It's not how this works. Everyone has the king within themselves. It's just that we've been conditioned to not tap into that version of ourselves, and we've accepted a destiny that is of a commoner, of a peasant. Okay, because and it comes down under. And forgive me if the term bitch offends some people. I just use it because it works. But we
Right.
go into that insecure little bitch version of ourselves, okay, because it lives on comfort and safety and security. That's what we chase. The reason why people don't invest or they don't do it, because we chase safety instead of growth and life. So what we need to do is actually realize, hey, there is that version of ourselves, that king version of ourselves in us. And if people don't believe, simply ask yourself the question, hey, is there ever been a moment in your life when you showed up with complete certainty, where you were so confident that you were going to do it and you felt like you were the man, you were the woman, that you were just, when someone says, I'm the man, you are the man, that feeling? Great. That's the king energy. That's king energy. So it's not that it's not there if you grew up poor or whatever. No, it's there. It's whether you choose to tap into it. And it's whether you choose to every single day to develop it. But in order to develop one, you need to let go of the other. You need to let go of the excuses, the victim, the quitting, the laziness, the lack of confidence, and choose to physically step into that greatest version of you. What would that greatest version of you do right now? Would it show up when you talk to your wife, to your husband, to your kids? Would it show up accusing? Would it show up, lazy, huffing and puffing with their clients online? Would it show up insecure when you're doing a video? Or would it show up with leadership and with authority, with certainty that, hey, what I'm saying is valuable? And so I deliver it in that way. That's what it's all about. Because when we start to do that on a consistent basis, everything starts to go your way.
Absolutely, absolutely, Carlos. So a lot of people will be, be able to connect with you, but a lot of people who would never, be able to connect with you, but listen to you what we have spoken.
Sure.
So, what are the few things that they can do with themselves to get started to be the king or the queen of their inner self, to be the best
Yeah.
version of themselves and achieve their full potential?
100%. 100%. So here's a couple of little things, and if you're happy for me to do this, I'm more than happy to give away some free value to people, because what we need most, and after having worked with elite athletes from all over the world, high performers in business, multimillionaires, is we need a structure. As adults, we don't really have structure. We don't have someone tell us, hey, do this, and like in school, for example. So if we create and if we're able to follow a protocol, routines and habits every single day, then we're going to yield specific results. Okay. Now, I'm more than happy to give away my full protocol to people that are watching this. Hit me up on Instagram at the Kingmaker Coaching. Shoot me a DM. I'll get it to you. What that protocol will look like is this. First of all, we need a couple of things. We need to get our mind right. So we need to have certain habits every single day. It's not going to work if we do it once a week. It's not. It's a waste of time. We need to do this every single day, because we have 70 to 90,000 thoughts every single day, and those thoughts create our reality. So what we need to do is to get new thoughts, new destiny. So first of all, I will recommend some internal processes, visualization. Actually visualize what you want. Meditate. Actually sit with everything that is going on internally and understand, okay, well, how am I feeling? Do I want to feel that way? And if you don't, choose how you want to feel. Number two, we need to be intentional about the things that we do. So we need to say, okay, hey, what do I want in my life? Because I don't know if you've ever noticed this, AJ, majority of people, upwards of 95%, actually, instead of going for the things that they want, what do? They go for the things that they think they can get. But that's
Right.
almost like living in the past. Instead of driving, looking through the windscreen, they drive looking through the rear view mirror. You're not going to create the life that you want with that. And you know that. So actually write down, do an intention exercise and write it down and say, hey, this is what I want. I want this in its fullest. And then make a plan to go after it. And finally, number three, you need to get your body in a good state. You need to move your body. You need to get new energy in your body. You need to actually feel good, stay consistent, committed every single day. Once you start to do that, people always ask the question of, what's the secret to confidence? The real secret to confidence is for you to say what you say you will do on a consistent basis. Because if you say, hey, I'm going to wake up every morning and I'm going to do 10 push-ups. Now, 10 push-ups isn't going to change your life. But if you do 10 push-ups every single day for a year, how many push-ups have you done? And the ability and the power to stay consistent throughout that period of time will change your life. I genuinely believe that 10 push-ups a day will change your life, simply because it's the commitment, the consistency. It's the greatest mindset work that you can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said, Carlo. My last question regarding this is, that many people, they achieve what they set out for. They achieve the potential that they have. Whether
Mm.
whether best version or not, that still time will tell. But they achieve. How do you make sure that when you become the king or queen, as a king, you do not become a tyrant, or as a queen, you do not become a queen bee. And people find it difficult because God, if he or she has given you power, if you don't utilize it for the right purpose, God can also take it away. You can lose confidence, something can happen. What would you like to tell people who are into their king or queen journey of themselves,
mm,
and how
mm,
should they look at success, especially in today's time?
mm, mm. I think there's a trap around success that we chase this thing and we achieve the thing that we want, but we realize that the fulfillment that we thought we were going to get from that place is not there, because the fulfillment that we're actually looking for is already in us, and we need to learn how to actually tap into that. And if someone is truly in their king and queen, they don't come from a place of ego. It's not becoming tyrant and using your power to take advantage of it, because that's not going to end well. But I also believe that in order for someone to show up in that way, there is something unresolved in them. They're coming from a place of fear or insecurity. And so if someone has achieved great things in their life, awesome, brilliant. Use that confidence and help someone else. And also, if you've achieved something and you're truly in your queen, in your queen or your king energy, you realize that you're on this continuous growth journey and on this continuous growth experience. And there's always something else to go for. But we're not chasing things in order to feel fulfillment. We are going for the things because of enjoyment and because we want to experience more and we want to create more. We want another challenge. Does that make sense? So
Yes,
it comes back to the fact that this king and queen is not about arrogance or ego. It's about confidence, which is different from arrogance, and it's different from ego. And I think ego is something that we need to use. It's not completely evil. We need to use it to our advantage at the right times of our journey when it's right. But it's about giving to others and empowering someone else to become their king, to master their life, to become the best version of themselves. When we do that, we begin this cycle, this new ripple effect, this new cycle that just makes a whole community better, changes the world, and actually gives our life massive amounts of meaning and fulfillment. And then if you can have the money and fulfillment, I think you've clocked the game of life.
absolutely. Well said. Well said. There is much to learn about these things, the much to learn from you, Carlo. And so, for those people who would want to connect with you, learn from you, learn with you, what is the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to connect with people. If there's something that we covered that maybe you've got some questions, more than happy to reach out to me on Instagram at the Kingmaker Coaching. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on, even if you want to email me personally, my personal email is my first name, Carlo at thekingmaker.com.au. Feel free to email me. Let me know that you saw the KAJ Masterclass and you had some questions, or you wanted to potentially get some free resources. I'm more than happy to give away my resources to people to help on their journey. But feel free to connect on socials and see the value in the content that we put out, and come and say hello.
Wonderful. Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.